Hello, my fellow chemistry people. My name's Connor Quist, and I did my lab report on electrochemistry within batteries. So, a little background. What actually is happening is oxidation and reduction at the same time, and because of these transfers of electron, we're actually able to harness a couple of electrons each time this process happens, and by harnessing them, we can then store them or use them in normal things that we usually do, like using our phone or camera or anything like that. So by optimizing these batteries, we can end up getting just more efficient products in our lives. So like everyone uses a cell phone. This is a great example. Most cell phones use lithium and I believe nickel as their electrodes. So by using these two electrodes, you are able to get a voltage potential of about 4.2 volts fully charged, which is really nice. So I was really interested in this because it's really important that a lot more people understand how these batteries work, and I wanted to understand a little more on how normal batteries worked because they're so common and because they're becoming more and more popular. Right now in Hawaii, they're doing crazy upgrades to their electrical grid, and in order to have solar in Hawaii, you actually have to store your own energy in these batteries so that there's not as much of influx in electricity consumption throughout the day, because the least consumption of electricity is midday, but that's when most of the solar is coming. So batteries are really important in our everyday lives. So by harnessing these extra electrons in these redox equations, we're able to create these batteries. So the main thing in these redox equations is the transfer of these electrons between the ions and the electrodes themselves. So I wanted to test the pH, the medium, and the electrodes and see how they actually affected the overall voltage potential. More testing could be done to see how current is affected by these electrodes, but I focused my research on voltage potential. So what I did is I used household products like this aluminum pop can as an electrode, copper wire, and zinc or galvanized steel, and then just a normal nail made out of iron. And I tested these in pickles, oranges, potatoes, and lemons. Those were my main focus to see how the voltage potential changed in each one of them. And I paired them up in each way you could, and I measured the voltage with my multimeter. So I did them at varying depths to also see how surface area changed and changed the voltage. And what I actually found out is that the medium, the surface area, and the pH had a very small or even insignificant, because my measurements aren't as precise as they probably could be, in the actual voltage potential. And the main drive for a high voltage potential is the cathodes themselves. So I found that by varying the cathodes, that could fluctuate the voltage potential by about a whole volt in some cases. And this was really shocking, because you would think that different mediums would have a bigger effect, especially since like you're using like a potato and a lemon and they're such different things, but I found that they didn't have that great of an effect. So what I might do with my next lab is actually, since all these foods are like very mild pHs, very close to neutral, only maybe like 3 to 4 pH away from neutral. In industrial batteries, they use like sulfuric acid, which is a lot more acidic concentration, and I could even use a lot more basic concentrations of this medium and see how that actually affects it. Because one of my things is I think the acid might affect it more, but since these foods were all close to pH, that they might not actually be a good representation of a wide range of pHs, if that makes sense. And then along with that, I would also blend my foods in order to get a more consistent and more immersive medium, so that each electrode is fully immersed in the medium. Because there are some cases, like in the potato, once you cut a potato, it's not going to come back or like mold much like an orange or lemon would. So that would be another good thing to test. But the main takeaway that I had is the electrode was the main driving factor of the voltage potential in cells. And that seems to be the case in the real world, because it seems like lithium and nickel, which is used in cars and cell phones, or there's also nickel hydride cells. A lot of people use that chemistry of electrodes because it yields such a high voltage potential, which I believe is around 4.2 volts charged, like fully realized voltage, and then nominal, more balanced voltage, about 3.7. So that's my lab. I hope you guys got a good takeaway and kind of understand the electrochemistry between batteries and how we can use redox equations to harness electrons or gain electrons and put them where we want, so that we can use them for our cell phones and our computers and all this crazy stuff. Alright, thank you for listening in, and I'll see you guys later.